Be prepared. The hour of your divine unveiling draws near, a sacred moment when heaven itself seems to pause, waiting in reverence for what God is about to unfold. The world may have mistaken your silence for surrender, your stillness for defeat. They believed your story had ended, that the weight of your trials had overcome you. But in this appointed season, as God's Spirit stirs, the Almighty will rewrite your story. This is no ordinary hour. It is not an ending nor a pause. It is a spark of divine reckoning. What seemed like collapse was merely a veil. A shadow cast concealed the radiance of your restoration. The wonder is not that you will rise again, but that you will rise with a glory so fierce, so anointed, that the world will have no choice but to behold the hand of God upon you. This season is not just a moment in time. It is a threshold, a sacred crossing where God's hidden purposes are revealed in the light of His grace. This is not merely your revival. It is the Lord balancing the scales of justice. Those who thought they dimmed your light will find their plans undone by the hand of the Most High. The doors they believed they sealed will be flung open by divine power. The strength they drained, the blessings they stole will return, not as fragments, but as a mighty river of God's provision. This is not chaos, but divine justice, a restoration ordained by the Creator Himself. If you feel a stirring in your spirit, let it linger. Let it speak, for this is the moment God has chosen for you to step into His call. The Spirit of God moves like a mighty wind, sudden and unstoppable, shaking loose what no longer belongs in His plan. This is not a force to break you. It is the breath of God that ignites you. Imagine standing in the presence of His glory, not as a bystander, but as a vessel of His purpose. The fire coursing through you is not meant to consume, but to empower. Your presence, once overlooked, will now shine with the light of Christ. Your voice, once silenced, will resound like a trumpet of truth. The world will turn toward you, and this time they will see the reflection of God's glory. If your heart quickens at this promise, pause and pray, for this is the Spirit calling you to stand in His light. Feel the quiet urging to draw near to God, to rest in His presence. For those chosen by the Lord, this season is not a setback, but a divine surge. While others stumble in the shadows of doubt, you will feel the solid rock of God's promises beneath your feet. The chains that bound you, fear, shame, the judgments of others, will not merely loosen. They will be broken by the power of the Almighty. You may feel a sudden lightness, as if a burden you carried for years has been lifted by His hand. It will feel unfamiliar at first, like stepping into a vast sanctuary after a lifetime in confinement. Your prayers will deepen, your steps will grow bold, and the world will sense a shift. This is freedom, not earned but bestowed. The Lord does not ask permission to set you free. He declares it. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a holy threshold. You cannot yet see the fullness of God's plan, but you feel its pull, a divine invitation that hums with eternity. This season carries a sacred rhythm, a covenant woven into the heart of God's timing. It speaks of restoration, of promises fulfilled. Yet how wondrous that the God of all creation chooses this moment to call you forward. This is no coincidence. It is a divine orchestration, a harmony of heaven's purpose and earthly trials. For those chosen by God, this season is not about wandering. It is about arriving. The fragments of your life, the moments that seem scattered, will begin to align under His hand. The trials that once broke you will now bind you to His purpose, weaving a testimony that was always meant to glorify Him. This is no gentle unfolding. The awakening of God's Spirit is bold, radiant, undeniable. It is the moment when the light of His truth floods a heart you thought was barren, revealing paths you never knew existed. The walls you believe can find you melt into the shadow of His grace. In this season, the clarity will be overwhelming. You will see, perhaps for the first time, that the betrayals, the delays, the moments of despair, they were not without purpose. They were threads in a tapestry, woven by the Master's hand to lead you here. If your soul stirs with this truth, let it take root. This is God calling you by name, summoning you to walk in the fullness of His plan. This season is a divine hinge, a sacred divide in the rhythm of your life. It separates the trials you've endured from the glory that awaits. With the Spirit of God moving in this hour, that divide becomes a holy chasm. For many, it will feel like uncertainty, a trembling of the ground beneath them. But for you, the chosen one, it is a call to rise. The ruins you've walked through are not endings. They were the foundation of God's greater work. The struggles were not punishment. They were preparation. And now, as the Lord moves, His plan begins to take shape. If you feel the nudge to pause, to listen to the whisper of His voice, do so. For in that stillness, your testimony is being written anew. As God's Spirit moves in this season, a sacred fire stirs within you, like a hymn rising from the ashes of your past. These are not mere memories. They're divine echoes, vivid and powerful, carrying the weight of victories God has already won through you. The Lord does not allow your triumphs to fade into obscurity. Instead, He calls them forth, clearer and stronger, to remind you of the strength He has placed within you. You may find yourself caught in a sudden vision of a moment long past, when you walked away from what sought to destroy you, when you rose from a valley of sorrow, when you were counted out yet pressed forward in faith. These are not fleeting thoughts. They are divine sparks, igniting your spirit, proof that your resilience was never a chance occurrence, but a gift forged in the fire of God's purpose. These echoes are not random. They are weapons, placed back in your hands by the hand of God. Each memory is a light, piercing the darkness, revealing the truth of who you are in Him. A verse, a prayer, or a moment of worship may pull you into two seasons at once. The time you stood firm in faith, and the time you are called to stand again. Feel the rush of God's strength, the same power that carried you through the trials of yesterday. This is no accident. The Lord is reigniting what was always yours. The victories you thought small, those quiet acts of obedience, those unseen steps of faith, now grow into a mighty testimony. The moment you chose trust over despair becomes a shield. The night you wept yet rose in prayer becomes a sword. The day you walked in obedience becomes a crown. God's Spirit does not reopen wounds. It sharpens the tools He has given you. If you sense a stirring in your spirit, a call to draw near to Him, let it guide you. These echoes are not just reminders. They are proof that God's strength is woven into your very being. You are not frail, nor are you a product of chance. Every trial, every moment you refuse to abandon hope, every step you took through shame or doubt, it all forged something unbreakable in Christ. And now, as God moves, those around you will begin to see it too. The people who once overlooked you, who dismissed your faith, will suddenly recall what you endured. They will see your journey in a new light, not as failure, but as a testament to God's faithfulness. Your revival is not built from nothing. It rises from the evidence of everything God has brought you through. This is no ordinary season. It is a continuation of your testimony, the next chapter in a story that was never meant to end. The Spirit of God does not ask you to start over. It calls you to step into fullness of who you are in Christ. The world will sense this shift, even if they cannot name it. Your presence, once quiet, will now carry the weight of God's glory. Like a lamp shining in a darkened wilderness, you will not blend into the ordinary. You will pierce the shadows, leaving a path that lingers long after you've passed. If you've ever felt the urge to hide your faith, to shrink from his call, let this be the moment you release that fear. The Lord is not asking you to dim your light. He is calling you to shine. Consider this. A lamp does not apologize for its radiance. It does not ask permission to light the night. It shines, bold and unwavering, guiding those lost in darkness. So too will your faith shift the atmosphere around you. Where you once felt out of place, your trust in God will become your strength. The differences that set you apart, the steadfastness others did not understand, they will become the reasons the world cannot look away. God's Spirit amplifies His truth, kindling the fire He placed within you. Where others see struggle, you carry the clarity of His purpose. If you feel a spark in your soul, a quiet call to embrace your calling, let it blaze. This is your moment to become a beacon of His glory. And here lies the deeper truth. Your rise is not yours alone. As you step into the season's calling, you become a light, a testimony to others that God's promises are true. Your faith, your refusal to bow to despair will ripple outward, touching those who watch in silence. They may not speak it aloud, but they will follow the path you illuminate, the steps you take in obedience, the ways you stand firm in His truth. They will become signposts, guiding others toward their own faith. You are not just rising for yourself. You are showing what is possible through Christ. If this stirs your heart, let it take root. For this is God whispering that your story is a testimony for others to follow. The fire of God's Spirit is not here to consume you. It is here to anoint you. While others seek safety, you will stand firm, your prayers carried by the Spirit, your life illuminated by His glory. This is not a moment to wait for a perfect peace or easy paths. Those chosen by God were never meant for comfort. They were forged for His purpose. The praises you lift are your anthem, the truth of His word your light, the Spirit your strength, carrying your testimony farther than you could imagine. Testimonies are not born in ease. They are forged in trials, in the moments when the world shakes, and only those rooted in Christ remain. If you feel the call to step forward, to embrace the season, do not resist. The struggle is not your enemy. It is the altar where God's glory is revealed. And when you stand upon it, the world will not only see you, it will see Him. The rhythm of God's plan shifts in this season, setting a divine pace for His chosen. While trials may weigh others down, slowing their steps with doubt, for you, this is no pause. It is divine momentum. Imagine a path where others stumble, yet you feel the Spirit guiding you forward. Dreams that once seemed distant now come into focus, radiant as the dawn. Faith hums like a lantern in the night, leading you past barriers others cannot cross. Doors that appear closed will open under God's hand, as if they were always meant for you. This is the mystery of His timing. While the world feels a way to struggle, you are carried forward, swift and unshaken, as if the Lord Himself has cleared the way for your steps. This momentum is not by chance. It is a divine separation, a parting of paths ordained by God. Those who doubted you, who sought to diminish your calling, will find themselves caught in their own struggles. Their plans falter, their confidence fades, their steps grow heavy under the weight of their choices. But for you, the chosen one, the path becomes clear, illuminated by the light of Christ. Each step feels lighter, each prayer bolder, as if the heavens themselves are guiding you. This is not luck. It is God's favor. The same season that ensnares others in doubt lifts you into His purpose. If you feel a fire within, a quiet assurance that now is your time, let it rise. This is the Lord declaring that the victory is yours in Him. And this momentum is not only outward, it is a quickening of the Spirit. While others repeat old mistakes, trapped in cycles of fear, you rise above through faith. Truths that take others years to grasp will settle in your heart in moments. Peace that others seek will rest upon you like a garment. This is the power of God's Spirit, bending time and trials to his purpose. Those who overlooked you will call it unearned, a blessing they cannot understand. But deep down, they will know the truth. God has set you apart, a path they cannot walk. By the time they see your progress, the gap will be eternal. This is not just progress. It is transformation, a calling that sets you not only ahead, but in his presence. Yet there is more. God's Spirit does not merely guide you forward. It restores what was lost. The faith you pour into dreams that seem to fade, the love you gave to those who turn away, the blessings that slipped from your grasp, they were never gone. They lingered, held in God's hands, waiting for this season to return. In this moment, his tide turns. Doors once closed may open by his grace, offering paths you thought were lost. Prayers spark answers at the perfect time. Hope surges like a spring in the desert, and the strength you fear was gone returns, mightier than before. Even those who wronged you may return, their hearts softened, their eyes open to your worth in Christ. This is not vengeance. It is redemption, God restoring what was unbalanced for too long. Picture a river unveiling treasures hidden beneath its waves. What was taken? Your peace, your purpose, your joy returns not as it was, but transformed, radiant, as if God himself has refined it for you. This is the sacred rhythm of his plan, a trial that rewrites loss into abundance. If you've carried the pain of injustice, the question of why your faithfulness seemed unanswered, release it now. The season is turning, the story arcing toward fulfillment. What was taken is returning, not as a shadow, but as a blessing, whole and holy. If this kindles hope in your heart, let it flourish. For this is God promising that nothing you offered in faith was ever lost. This season is not just a moment. It is a divine threshold, a sacred divide in your journey. With God's Spirit moving, this divide becomes a holy crossing. Imagine standing at the edge of a promise, one side holding all you've endured, the doubts, the false endings, the weight of others' words. The other side is God's calling, a horizon radiant with his purpose. The threshold does not wait for you to feel ready. It opens, bold and eternal, urging you to choose. Cling to the past or step into his plan. For many, this moment will feel like uncertainty, a shaking of their foundation. But for you, it is clarity, a divine cut that separates the old self from the one God created you to be. If you feel the call to step forward, to release the fears that once held you, answer it. This is the moment when the chains of doubt, shame, and the labels others placed upon you fall away. What crosses this threshold is not the person you were, but the one God destined you to be, bold, anointed, radiant. This season does not merely mark time. It rewrites it. The version of you that steps into this calling will never look back. Not because you choose to, but because the old self is transformed in Christ. The trials of your past were not endings. They were the foundation of a testimony no one could have foreseen. You are not like the world. In this season, that truth becomes a lamp, shining in the darkness. Like a light in the wilderness, you do not blend into the ordinary. You pierce the shadows, leaving a path that others will follow, even if they never speak your name. Your faith, your steadfastness, your trust in God's plan, they are no longer burdens but gifts. What once made you feel out of place now makes you a vessel of his glory. As you walk in his purpose, you carve a path, not just for yourself, but for those who will see your faith and find their own. If your heart sings with this truth, let it resound. For you are not just rising. You are leaving a legacy, a light that will guide others long after you've passed. This is your moment, chosen one. The fire of God's Spirit is not here to consume you. It is here to anoint you. The praises you lift are your anthem, the truth of His word your light, the Spirit your wings. Step into the trial, claim the altar, and let the world see what God has always known. You were never meant to fade. You were meant to shine, to leave a testimony that eternity cannot erase. As God's plan unfolds in this season, your story does not end. It begins anew, written in faith and glory, a testament to the chosen one who dared arise. Let your heart carry this promise. Let your steps echo His call, and let your light shine eternal in His kingdom.